Assalamualaikum. Good day to one and all. Welcome to Pagasinan NHS Barm Tawi-Tawi YouTube channel. And welcome to this program, the Padduman or the guides. At this time, allow me to share with you one of the most important topic for this school year 2020-2021. This is on assessment or classroom assessment. Recently, the DepEd had issued the DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020, which is the interim guidelines for assessment and grading in light of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. This one. Ito na yung sagot sa ating katanungan, especially mula sa ating mga magulang, sa mga parents. Nagtatanong kung paano natin ina-assess at binibigyang grades ang bata sa school year 2020-2021. Allow me to share with you to have a little explanation based on my understanding. But before we go with the assessment computations and some others, it is very much important also for us to understand the principles behind assessment. So based on this DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020, this DepEd Order has more than 200 pages. But let us just look on the most important thing to understand first. Based on this, on the number 4, the policy is grounded on the following principles. Let us understand what are these principles. There are 5 principles, and this is labeled from letter A to letter E. The first principle of assessment under K-12 curriculum is that the assessment should be holistic and authentic in capturing the attainment of the most essential learning competencies. The second assessment principle, labeled as letter B, assessment is integral for understanding student learning and development. And number 3, labeled as letter C, a variety of assessment strategies is necessary, with formative assessment taking priority to inform teaching and promote growth and mastery. Letter D, number 4, assessment and feedback should be a shared responsibility among teachers, learners, and their families. And number 5, labeled as letter E, assessment and grading should have positive impact on learning. Now, let me discuss to you the first principle of assessment as stipulated in the DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020, which is assessment should be holistic and authentic in capturing the attainment of the most essential learning competencies. What does it mean by holistic and authentic? In simple terms, holistic means total development. So, we have to develop the totality of the child, such as to develop their mind, their heart, and the body in terms of assessment. So, in education, we call it domains of learning. So, we have 3 domains of learning that we have to deal with. First is the cognitive domain, which is referring to the mind, the intellect of the child. Next is the affective domains, which is the heart, the feelings, the emotions, the behaviors, the attitudes. And the third one is the psychomotor, which is the movement. And these are the things that we have to develop, that we have to address in giving the assessment. Just like when we teach mathematics or when we assess when give assessment in mathematics, we are not only assessing their capacity on or their skills on how to perform the operations, but somehow to use those operations in dealing with someone, such as in dealing with relationships, and also how does it works in the real life. That is what we want to do with the assessment. And the next one is assessment should be authentic. It should be authentic in the sense that it should be useful, meaningful, and worthwhile. Hindi lang magbibigay tayo ng assessment, basta assessment lang. Dapat meron siyang katuturan at makukuha doon sa ating assessment. And authentic, it must be engaging. The assessment must be engaging. That's why we have also the performance task. Hindi lamang paper pencil, kundi mga activities. The actual performance of the child. That is most important in making assessment worthwhile and useful. Such as the student must participate in the oral recitation, the students must do their performance tasks such as in, for example, in the arts, in music, dancing, singing, like that. So, it must be engaging. So, the first principle is assessment should be holistic and authentic in capturing the attainment of the most essential learning competencies. The second principle of assessment is that assessment is integral for understanding student learning and development. In the teaching learning process, we considered assessment as an integral part. What does integral mean? Integral mean essential, fundamental, or important. It's really important to have an assessment. Or without an assessment, we do not know to what level, to what performance students attain on a certain topic, on a certain grade level. It is also through assessment we can give feedback, and out of that we can draw a solutions and resolve through remedial teaching, through some other form of reinforcement. That it's an integral for understanding student learning. Yun. Yung para malaman natin ang level ng student, level ng kanilang natutunan or student learning. And at the same time, student development. There is something different between learning and development. The learning is particularly on something like, particularly on skills, on knowledge. For example, in mathematics, skills on fundamental operation of mathematics. That in English, speaking skills. Development, it has something to do with their affective side and then psychomotor side. Yun. Development of the child in the school. So through assessment, there are many forms of assessment. There are many forms. So we will just discuss and we'll give you some insights, some discussions on forms of or different types of assessment. But at this point of time, we will only focus on principles. Yun. It's an integral. Assessment is integral for understanding student learning and development. Number 3, or the third principle of assessment, states a variety of assessment strategies is necessary, with formative assessment taking priority to inform teaching and promote growth and mastery. We have learned in our education subjects, particularly on assessment and evaluation, when to give an assessment, it should be in different forms and in different types. Even in the conventional type or the paper pencil, we should not confine on multiple choice. Multiple choice is good, but for student assessment, there should also true or false, fill in the blank, essay, and some others. So at this point of time, it's also important, or we should priority the formative assessment, because formative assessment does not only measures or does not only tell us about our student or level of our student, but it's also tell us about our performance as teachers, whether we are effective or ineffective. And through this formative assessment, uh, it helps the learners and as well as we the teachers master our topic based on the most essential learning competencies. So the third principle says that a variety of assessment strategies is necessary, with formative assessment taking priority to inform teaching and promote growth and mastery. Number 4, or the fourth principle of assessment, states assessment and feedback should be a shared responsibility among teachers, learners, and their families. Normally, all we understand is that assessment should only be come from the teachers, right? But we should also understand, especially at this point of time, assessment is a shared responsibility. It is not singularly confined on teacher or teachers, but the parents and the learner themselves are also responsible for their learning or for assessing their learning. Based on the study from PAMEA, it states that as to the learning, 50% is coming from the students or the learners, 30% from the teachers, and 20% from the school. So the students or the learners contributes 50% of his or her learnings. That's why he or she must also assess him or herself. In our self-learning modules or the learning activity sheets, we have also uh, the assessment checklist, which will be done by the parents and the teacher. That is for the shared responsibility. And that is the fourth principle, which is assessment is and feedback should be a shared responsibility among teachers, learners, and their families. Number 5, or the last principles of assessment, as stated in the DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020. Assessment and grading should have a positive impact on learning. Positive impact simply means improvement. We do assessment, we give grades, it's because we want to see an improvement. For example, in the PE classes, we assess a certain student based on our target. For example, we want a certain student run or finish a 100-meter dash in 25 seconds. But at first try, a certain student finish at 30 seconds. So after that, after our assessment, we give feedbacks and we give tips, we give techniques. And then we let he or she run again for the second time. And then if or she finish 100-meter dash in 25 seconds or lower than that, then we can say that there is a positive impact on his learning on the PE classes. So for grading, the grades of the students must also reflect or manifest his skills or performance. Pangit din naman kung mataas ang kanyang grado pero hindi mo nakikita sa kanya or sa kanyang skills or hindi na manifest ng kanyang skills or performance. For example, in SP, mga 90 or 90 plus ang kanyang grades. Pero kahit yung basic good manners and right conducts ay hindi mo nakikita. Simple pag-greet ay hindi niya ginagawa. So, walang positive impact sa learning doon. Maybe mataas lang ang kanyang numerical figure ng kanyang grade. All interpretation doon sa pagbibigay natin ng assessment that a certain students, yung remarks natin, perform outstandingly. Very satisfactory. Parang ganon. Pero in reality, in his execution, ay hindi mo nakikita. So, dapat nakikita siya, no? Actual, positively. Yun ang positive impact on learning. So, thank you so much for watching and listening. I know there are errors. Please help us correct those. We highly appreciate and value your comments and suggestions. You may send us feedbacks, PM us, or comments through this YouTube channel. Thank you and wabad wassalam.